Morgan, the sugya we're going to deal with today, the Rambam Hilchis Shefer Sukka Lulav, and the discussions we're going to discuss is the union of Lulav. The Rambam Perek Zayin Halacha Hey writes, Arba Minim Elu Mitzvah Achase. These four minim are all one mitzvah. Mitzvah achase. And he writes, then he adds a line, the kulam nikroim mitzvahs lulav. They're all called mitzvahs lulav. So, what is this kulam nikroim mitzvahs lulav? What does he mean with that? Okay, so you could say, I'm just giving you an outline that, just like in Hilchas Ishus, very base, he writes, I'm going to give you an outline of the names that I'm going to be talking about. And he writes, there's 20 names that you need to know when I'm going to talk. He gives a list, Kiddushin, Erva, Shniya, Isur, Lav, and so on and so forth. And he says, I'm telling you this so you shouldn't have to always keep looking for repeating every detail. These are the names. There are other places where the Rambam says things to make it easier to read and to follow. But that's not what it sounds like here. Because he doesn't say we're going to call it. This is called mitzvahs lulav. Sounds like this is the mitzvah. What does it mean with that? Okay, so the Gemara in Sukka Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Bey says, Amar Rabbi Lulav Min the Esrog B'Smol. The Gemara asks that Lulav is in the right hand and Esther goes in the left hand. And he asks, my taima, and for the Gemara, Hanit Losa mitzvahs, the High Chodem mitzvahs. In the Lulav, you have three mitzvahs because of again, they're bound together. The Lulav, the Aravis, and the Hadassah. Whereas in the left hand, you only have a esrog. Then the Gemara goes on, asks the question, Amalei Rabbi Rab Zriko. Minim said to Rab Zriko, my tam loy mevarchen el al netilas lulav. Why is the bracha al netilas lulav? The answer is hayel gevaya mikulam. Because it's taller than the rest. Like you want to lift up the esrog, hold it like this, but the esrog up high, and you want to have a problem, and the esrog will be higher. Its species is taller. Miri has a beautiful take on this, which what it means taller. It doesn't mean physically taller only. It means also the spiritual representation of Lulav and the spiritual representation of Sukka. It is, and in Chassidus, these things are discussed. But let's stick to the halachic angle. Okay, now the Rambam in Halacha Vav here in this discussion, in this pair, writes mitzvah min hamuvchar. It is the best of mitzvahs. Legoid lulav adados harava, to make a igud like we do, time together. And velas shlosh nagud achas, to make them one igud, one. Now when he takes them, lots is behen the varach chilal netilas lulav, make them it's the bracha al netilas. Hoyil v'kulan smuchen. Well, they're all, the other two minim are smuchen. What does that mean? So the Lachem Mishnah says, Akal smuchen Why doesn't he bring the Gemara's? Why doesn't the Gemara bring? Why doesn't he bring the Gemara's lashon? Shemina Givaya Mikula because it's taller. He says that's what Sukka means. It's no Sukka means it's the most. It's the best because it's the tallest. It's the best. It's the most. In the Lechem Mishnah there's a magia, and he adds smuchin. He says that's what it means. It's in order for something to support other things, it has to be stronger and bigger. He says it's stronger by it is a stronger min to be able to hold the igud of the others, and you couldn't hold a rava and tie a lulav to it, and the lulav will stand. Now it's holding the lulav and able to hold it shows its strength, and therefore its height and its strength. That's what the meaning is. Okay, so we have some understanding of what the Rambam really means. That he means the Gemara. There's a sefer Lulav on the Rambam, and he says that the Rambam is not here to tell you why you make a bracha on Tilas Lulav and not on the Tilas Harabah. His main inyan is why are you yaitza on one min out of four? And the smuchel means it's one mitzvah. It's a little hard to say that that's the meaning. The Martcha in Sukka on the Gemara of Minim Mikulam. He says, the Gamaskin, the Lulav be min ve'esim Ismail, because it's 3 mitzvahs and 1 mitzvah. Right? And that's why he writes, Mitoich kach mevarchen alulav v'lo ya'es. In other words, he learns that that's the reason that Lulav be min and Esrim Ismail. That's the reason he make a bracha on it. He doesn't read the top of the Gemara. Yeah. So what's that? What's that? So there's a sefer again, Kesar Melech on the Rambam. He wants to say, Gemara asked my time, why do you make a bracha on the lulav? He says an interesting thing. Although you need an egg, it's a mitzvah. What do you don't have? You do one by one. So if you take everyone separately, you also make al tilas why. So he says because the mina is gvoya mikula. But if you're taking them together, you don't need that reason because you have them. You have an igud of 3 versus 1. That's why you make the Gemara. That's why you make the bracha. You can't say that in the Rambam because the Rambam is saying clearly that it's only a mitzvah namufcha. So why not? Why doesn't he say the story that'll work for all cases? So you could say that the Martcha learns differently. He learns that this is machlekes between Rabbi and Rabbi. Rabbi says Lulav Bimin is because since the Lulav Bimin is tam, then that's also a reason for the bracha because it's 3 and 1. Rabbi Zrika says a different reason, and it's also a reason for the Lulav Bimin too, because it's Minim Mikula. And theoretically, you can say that that's what the Rambam holds. And that's why he doesn't bring the Svara Hayel with Minim Mikula. Yeah. Now, why doesn't he talk about the case in Lei Ogdon? Right? You have to say, you should have brought the Gemara. That's his. Talking about you're doing the mitzvah, the bracha was set up as the mitzvah is supposed to be done. The Aruch Ner also says a similar word with a whole different one. He also they argue totally different. But you don't have to get into it. Okay. As he wants to say that according to Reb Zrika, he doesn't know the Lulav Bimin altogether. But once you all lulav yamin, with this story, you don't need that. That's really broadening the machlekes. But according to they hold the machlekes. Rabbeinu Menoyach wants to fit the svara of Hayel Mekulim Smuchim, the Rabbeinu Menoyach and Rambam, with the Gemara that forget that the Smuchim means that they're tough. Because it's the main mitzvah. And therefore, they're tuffle. That's the smuchen. And why they're tuffle? Because it's the tallest. Okay, it's all good, but it doesn't. How do we fit it into the Rambam? Yeah, this is what we have an approach. At least understand what the Rambam. But perhaps you can say even further. We asked in the beginning, what does the Rambam mean with this word? Kulam nikroi mitzvus lulav. Yeah. Why Lulav? Master, yes, is the man as the Mirias is the most representative of everything. Reya, Katam, got everything. And the kapistman is a very kasha. When it comes to brachas on food, we don't say what's bigger, what's taller. You know, what's chaviv. There are other things that you should rely on. So why dafke here are we going by the size, by the lulav? So could be that the Rambam learns. We're not here to tell you why we make a bracha on the lulav. That's not the discussion. Discussion is why is it called? What makes it mitzvahs lulav? It's called Nikula Nikroim al Shem lulav. So and the Gemara says the reason it is because it is the most obvious of all the four minim. Gvaya Mikulam is not just tam chashivus, because that's the mitzvah. That's the mitzvah that you see. Just as an added point, the Gemara says when after the din of Shoshana and Kippur, you even go out with the lulav and show the nuts. The lulav is what's seen. That's the Gevaya Mikula. This is what stands out in the midst, and that's where the name comes, and that could be what the Rambam really means. It says "Hoyel v'kulam smuchalei," meaning that's the mitzvah is lulav. They're smuchim to the mitzvah lulav. They're all smuchim to lulav. So the reason he rises is because it's not about height. It's not about size. It's about what gets the shem of the mitzvah, and that's what he means with kulam nikroim mitzvahs lulav. Now, perhaps the Rambam is machriach this based on what he writes in Hilchos Brachas, like Abbe Brachas. That he says, Zayil upon a Minim harbe, my same Shabbos. So Mevarach Halacha, if they're the same bracha, put on Adam Payt Hashem. V'im ein bracha same Shabbos, Mevarach Kol Achas Mem bracha Ruach. So why do we make one bracha of lulav? Make a bracha of lulav, make a bracha. It's one mitzvah. But if four minim, right? So let each min have al mitzvahs until us lulav, until us that, because we're taking it all. In other words, each min is a separate min. So therefore, the Rambam has to say, no, it's not just making a bracha on the lulav as opposed to the others. It's because that's the name of the mitzvah. It's a kalais of the mitzvah is lulav. That's the kulan nikroim al Shem lulav. There's a chala mitzvah lulav, and therefore the bracha is on the lulav. Could be that would, in other words, the smucha he means the Gemara, but the Gemara means this. He's telling you what the Gemara means. The Gemara means Gevayim Mikulam is why did all of them get the Shem Lulav? They fall under the title of them. So the mitzvah started taking a Lulav. A Lulav with things that enhance it. The vision of the mitzvah is Lulav. Okay, Slocha Rabbi, seit gesund stark.